The Zathram armada hung in the void like a swarm of silver daggers, each vessel a masterpiece of alien engineering that had conquered 47 star systems. Admiral Krovax watched the human vessel approach on his holographic display and clicked his mandibles in what passed for laughter among his species. That, he gestured with one of his forearms, is what they send to defend their colony? The human battleship Terran Resilience looked nothing like a proper warship, where Zathram vessels were sleek and aerodynamic, despite never needing to enter atmosphere. The human ship resembled a floating junkyard. Mismatched hull plates were welded together in a patchwork of different metals and alloys. External conduits ran along the exterior like exposed veins. One section appeared to be held together with industrial adhesive and prayer. It appears to be constructed from salvaged components, Admiral, his tactical officer reported. Outdated human technology, estimated to be at least 3 decades old. I'm detecting primitive fusion drives, basic deflector shields, and… Admiral, are those kinetic weapons? Krovax's laughter intensified. Kinetic weapons? Projectiles? The Zathram had abandoned such crude armaments 2 centuries ago in favor of plasma lances and quantum disruptors. The humans sent us a museum piece. This will be over quickly. Aboard the Terran Resilience, Commander Mia Chen stood on the bridge with her arms crossed, watching the Zathram fleet position itself with textbook precision. Her crew numbered only 43, a skeleton staff for a ship designed to hold 200. Behind her, Lieutenant Ken Rodriguez monitored the weapon systems, his fingers dancing across a console that looked like it had survived several wars. They're taking formation Delta 7, Mia observed calmly. Standard superiority engagement pattern. They think we're going to try to run. Ken glanced up from his display, a slight grin crossing his face. Should we disabuse them of that notion, Commander? Not yet. Let them get comfortable. Mia's dark eyes never left the view screen. Status on the rails. Charged and ready. The capacitors are singing like they're supposed to. Old Bessie might look like garbage, but she's got bite. Ken pulled up a 3-dimensional targeting grid. All 6 railgun batteries online, ammunition loaded, tungsten carbide penetrators, just like Grandma used to make. The Terran Resilience had been built during humanity's first colonial expansion, when Earth's nations were still learning to work together, and resources were scarce. The ship had been assembled in orbit around Mars from whatever components were available. Decommissioned military parts, civilian ship frames, even mining equipment. She had served as a supply hauler, then a patrol ship, then been mothballed for 15 years before Mia's crew brought her back to life. Every Navy in human space had called her a joke. Until now, no one had needed her. Admiral, the human vessel, is maintaining position, the Zathram tactical officer reported. They're not attempting to flee or maneuver. Because they know they cannot, Krovax replied. Charge primary weapons. We'll give them one chance to surrender, then we'll tear that scrap heap apart and move on to the colony. Commander Thex, open a channel. The transmission crackled through the Terran Resilience's communication system. Mia listened to the alien's ultimatum, surrender or be destroyed, with an expression of studied boredom. Should I respond, Commander? Asked her communications officer. Sure. Tell them. Mia paused, considering. Tell them that humanity doesn't surrender, we improvise. Ken chuckled. That ought to confuse them. The Zathram didn't understand the message. They didn't understand that humans had spent their entire existence making do with inadequate resources, broken equipment, and impossible odds. They didn't understand that when properly motivated, a human engineer could turn garbage into gold and desperation into innovation. Target their flagship, Mia ordered. Ken, I want a full spread on my mark. Navigation. Be ready for evasive pattern Echo 3 the moment we fire. Aye, Commander, came the chorus of responses. The Zathram fleet began its attack run, plasma lances building charge in weapons arrays that glowed with barely contained energy. They came in fast and coordinated, 300 ships moving as one, ready to reduce the human vessel to debris. Mark, Mia said quietly. The Terran Resilience didn't have fancy energy weapons or quantum disruptors. What she had were 6 electromagnetic railgun batteries designed to throw solid projectiles at a significant fraction of light speed. When Ken pressed the firing button, the entire ship shuddered as magnetic fields accelerated tungsten carbide penetrators down 50-meter barrels. The projectiles were invisible to the naked eye, moving too fast for conventional tracking. The Zathrim's energy shields, designed to disperse plasma and laser fire, did absolutely nothing against solid matter traveling at relativistic speeds. The first penetrator struck the flagship's command deck and passed completely through the vessel, creating a tunnel of vaporized metal and explosive decompression. The second and third rounds hit amidships, severing the vessel in half. The remaining 3 projectiles scattered through the tightly packed formation like cosmic buckshot, each one passing through multiple ships. In less than 3 seconds, Mia had destroyed or crippled 15 Zathrim warships. "Evasive!" she barked. The Terran resilience wasn't fast by modern standards, but her hodgepodge of thrust systems, fusion drives here, ion engines there, even some old chemical rockets welded to the hull, gave her unpredictable acceleration patterns. The ship jinked sideways as the Zathrim's return fire filled the space where she'd been moments before. "Reloading," Ken reported. 20 seconds to next volley. The Zathrim fleet scattered, their perfect formation breaking apart as panic rippled through their ranks. They'd never faced kinetic weapons at this scale, had never needed to defend against simple mass moving at impossible speeds. Krovac stared at his tactical display in horror. His flagship was dying, atmosphere venting from dozens of hull breaches. "All ships, disperse and attack from multiple vectors. Don't give them time to..." The second volley from the Terran Resilience caught 12 more vessels, the railgun rounds punching through shields and armor as if they weren't there. "They're breaking formation," Mia observed. Ken switched to scattershot. "Let's see how they like facing 100 projectiles instead of 6. The next volley deployed mid-flight, each penetrator splitting into smaller munitions that peppered the Zathrim formation. It was an old human trick, buckshot in space. Individually, the smaller projectiles couldn't destroy a capital ship, but they could tear through sensors, weapons arrays, and engines. Within minutes, the Zathrim armada was in full retreat. Aboard an escape pod jettisoned from his dying flagship, Admiral Krovac watched the human battleship in something approaching awe. The ugly patchwork vessel had done what no one thought possible. She'd defeated a superior force through sheer audacity and weapons so primitive they'd been forgotten. "Report this to command," he ordered his surviving officers. "The humans. They're more dangerous than we calculated." On the bridge of the Terran Resilience, Mia allowed herself a small smile. "Stand down from battle stations. Damage report?" "Hull plating buckled in sections 7 and 12, Ken reported. "1 railgun battery offline, but otherwise we're intact." Old Bessie held together. "She always does," Mia replied. "Log it in the record. 1 vintage human battleship, built from spare parts and stubbornness, successfully defended the colony against overwhelming odds." Ken grinned. "They're never going to believe this back home. They don't have to believe it, they just have to remember it." Mia looked out at the retreating alien fleet. "Out here, it doesn't matter how advanced your technology is. What matters is whether you're willing to fight with what you have and make it count." The Terran Resilience turned slowly toward the colony, her mismatched hull plates gleaming in the light of the distant star. She was ugly, outdated, and built from salvage. She was also undefeated, and across 100 star systems, the Zathrim would whisper warnings about the battleship that looked like a joke until it wiped out their fleet.